What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are covering the absolute horror, which would be a cashless society. Make sure to leave a thumbs up. It'll push this video out to more people, and leave a comment on what your thoughts are on this concept of a cashless society. And of course, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And the reason why we're sort of covering this topic today is what happened on the weekend of July the 8th in Canada, where literally the world pretty much stopped because Rogers, the internet provider and cellular provider, pretty much they lost all their ability to provide service. So millions and millions and millions and millions of Canadians, and there's not that many millions of Canadians to begin with, were without service for, I didn't have anything for 2 full days. 2 full days. I didn't get anything back until Sunday morning. And people were unable to get groceries because they didn't have any cash on them. None of the Interact debit credit systems were working. So that's food, that's medication, that's gas for your car. All that stuff was taken away. And it really opened up to what a cashless society would look like. And because people are worried about a certain little bug, I guess, that when you cough, it goes on the money and then it gives you the stuff, and then they go like, see, and it's the deadliest thing ever. And then people that are pussies and liberals go like, yeah, you're right, and like save the trees and whatever other nonsense they have. But there's a lot of disadvantages that got exposed, and there's a lot of ones that people just don't understand that I'm going to present an argument for as to why a cashless society is completely unreasonable and should not exist. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the fact that it is a privacy issue, an absolute privacy issue. You could possibly have some sort of trust in your banking system that they would not give away any of your personal information, but you're literally just floating around with your social insurance number, your banking information, your credit card information, your line of credit information is all just sort of floating around out there online. And at any moment in time, somebody with a decent enough hacking ability can go in, VPNs and all that stuff, and just take everything that you have. And there's identity theft right there. And on top of that, then when these banks lose this information through hacking, they don't just give you the money back. If you lose all your money, they go, well, we got to investigate it. They don't just give you back the money. So you can go days, weeks while this investigation goes on with absolutely nothing. No money whatsoever, nothing to spend, how many people you're going to have to borrow from. And then people talk about how, but it prevents people from stealing from you. And to that I say, I guess it does, unless you are going out and you're protesting against your government and then they sign executive orders to freeze your bank accounts and freeze all your banking assets because you decided to protest against them. Remind you of anything? Probably does. Another thing is that when you have a cashless society, what you have is your payment providers could just superimpose transaction fees. You see these transaction fees happen all the time, and then you end up spending way more money than you would have otherwise if you just went to the source and paid in cash. And there's always this thing where, there used to be a thing with debit cards about paying, you had like 20 uses of it per month, and then you get charged a fee at the end. So the bank is always in the business of making money off of you. So when you have a debit card, when you have a credit card and all that, the whole idea is they're going to charge you fees for the usage and for the existence of it so that they can make money. They're not just going to give you something without receiving something in return. So you're actually going to be paying more for all these products and for all these services if you're doing it with a card rather than doing it with the option of having an actual cash physical money to be giving over in exchange for the products and services. One of the other things is that this complete movement over to what is more a cryptocurrency. And I know that we've seen a lot of benefits of some cryptocurrencies. They exploded, Bitcoin exploded, all these other different cryptocurrencies, people are investing in it. But at literally any point in time, if the internet turns off the way that it just did, everything is gone. You got absolutely nothing now. It doesn't matter if your Bitcoin wallet had $5 million in it. Guess what? Now you have $0. Because the only way you can access these cryptocurrencies, the only way you can access this money is if you have access to the account. The only way you have access to the account is through what? Your internet service, your internet provider. Someone hacks you, changes your password, you're done. It's gone. Everyone heard the stories about the Bitcoin people when it first blew up and they had to remember their passwords. You get 10 attempts, and if you miss that 10th attempt, guess what? Your account is locked forever. There's no way to actually retrieve the password. I don't know if that's changed all that often yet, but if it hasn't, and even if it has, it's really easy to go in there, simply change a password around, and they can't help you. And all that money is now gone when you could have had it physically in your hand to begin with. Another thing is what happens to the most downtrodden and poor in our society. You see homeless people out on the streets. What are they usually asking for? They're not asking for debit cards and gift cards and all this kind of stuff. They're generally asking for things that you can easily give over to them. Some coins, a $5 bill, something of the sort like that. They will be the most affected by this. They get by on the ability to gather just little bits of cash here, even stuff that people just happen to have in their pocket. They pull out a $5 bill, a quarter drops on the ground. They don't notice it. That's going to help out somebody that comes along the way. We're literally putting the most economically vulnerable people in a worse situation by not allowing them access to a way for them to pay for even the most simplest of things, an easy breakfast, a cup of coffee in the morning, just to keep them warm. You see that all day in Toronto when it gets cold in those winters and the shelters aren't well funded. The shelters, aren't open for them. The shelters don't have the ability to give them what they need in that moment. They're going to be asking this from other people. And it also opens you up personally, that if you're having a little bit of a hard time, it allows you to be able to have access to goods and services as well. Especially, again, when the government decides that your bank account should be frozen because you protested against them. And of course, the most obvious one is the one that was pretty much addressed here at the very beginning, and that is any type of technological difficulties literally make you penniless. Literally make you penniless. A dead phone battery is like being completely bankrupt. Not able to pay, because you're not able to pay for anything at that point. And you think they're going to move on, that they're not going to move on from debit cards and credit cards in this process of going cashless? Of course they will. They're going to want everything to be right here on your phone. They've already given you access to be able to do that. People do have their credit cards on their phone, their debit cards on their phone, where they can just go and they scan it on the little gimmicky ATM thing, and it reads it the same way a debit card does. That's the way that they're sort of pushing this. And then I'll imagine you lose your phone. Now what? Then what? You lose your phone. Your phone battery dies. You don't have enough data on your phone. You don't know the internet password of where you're at because, we don't just give out the internet password to customers. It's not like McDonald's. We can go and get free internet access. You can't do that in a grocery store. The grocery store doesn't just give out internet access. Well, maybe that they'll start doing that. You think they'll start doing that? Absolutely not. How many people do you think going to a grocery store? You think they have the bandwidth to be able to handle that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then there's situations where there's just outages, just so happened to be on the same day that the former Prime Minister of Japan got assassinated, but we'll just forget that that's even a thing because we're worried about being able to access Instagram. Gosh darn it. Couldn't post that nice little selfie I took on a Friday afternoon after I had a great lunch at Starbucks. The avocado toast was delicious, and everyone needed to see it. They didn't. But I think what everyone needs to realize is just how fragile this all is. How vulnerable we all are to literally be screwed forever. All because we're talking about, it's convenient to not have to carry around cash all the time. It's convenient, to not have to worry about my pockets are full. I just have it on my phone, and that it's safer. That's always the words that they use, isn't it? Convenience and safety. And they focus usually on the safety. And in the last 2 years, we've seen them focus on what is on certain surfaces and contactless this and social distancing that. And all these things keep getting pushed towards it. And that's why you can see certain people are still out there wearing masks and stuff, and they're still scared of their own shadow and scared of the air and all that kind of stuff. And they don't want any contact with anyone. And they're the ones that are going to be driving all of this, because they're the ones that are still allowing all these things to get pushed forward. So they keep scaring these people, these sensitive, soft people, who then are saying, well, it's just safer this way, because if you on the 20 and then you forget, and then you give it to the person at the thing, and then they give it back to me with change, and then now I got the wooka on the necky and the throaty, and then I'm going to be talking like this, and I'm going to have to be in a respirator, or whatever the hell excuses they make as to why we should focus on safety rather than being able to see the bigger picture and all this and understand as to why a cashless society is just not something that is safe or sustainable. There's that word again, safe. Gotta talk about safety in terms of not getting a certain illness that has an extremely ridiculous. And instead, we're not focusing on the safety of what happens when everyone on the freaking country loses their access to being online and now can't do a damn thing about it. How many people were prepared with cash Friday morning when they woke up? Who thought on Friday morning that there was going to be anything that they would need cash for? They're like, maybe if I need gas, but whatever, I got my card. Maybe I might need to pick up a little something at the grocery store. I got my card. Nobody wakes up thinking, oh, well, maybe like I'll never be able to use this card again, so I should get some cash this morning while the networks are still good. I want to know how many other people out there are going to be carrying more cash around, because I'm as guilty as everybody else when it comes to cash. I don't make a lot of purchases anyway. But if God forbid, I needed to make one on Friday or Saturday, I would have been shit out of luck, wouldn't I have been? If I needed medication, shit out of luck. If I needed food, shit out of luck. So if anyone out there right now watching it, allow that to be a lesson to you, especially if you're somebody who might need instant access to something for your own personal health and well-being, such as certain foods or certain medications. Make sure that you're out there carrying around cash, because at any point in time, as it was just proven, that internet's going to go out and you can't do anything about it except sit around and wait. All you can do is sit around and wait. When the electricity goes out, all you can do is sit around and wait. You got nothing. There's nothing you can do about it, because you have no control over how it turns on and off. You got to wait for the other people who actually have the control of it, that monopoly out there of access providers, of internet providers, of cell phone providers, of electricity providers, who have all the power over you. And the only way you can maintain some type of independence in the world that we have created right now is to have that cash on you, so you can actually go out and get that medication and get that food. Because who knows, you have parents out there who are like, oh, today's the day I'm going to go pick up more food for the kid, or more baby food or more baby formula or whatever, and they weren't able to do that. You don't want to be stuck as that person. Make sure you carry enough cash around that you can at least pay for the essentials. Carry around a couple 20s. Just a couple 20s helps pay for your medication, pay for the essentials. Keep you safe and not so incredibly vulnerable, as we all are extremely vulnerable to really getting screwed over by just even the slightest glitch, power outage, bad storm, heat wave, etc. Thanks for coming. Make sure you talk about this with all your friends, and tell your friends out there that may not be people that carry around cash all the time to maybe carry around the little nest egg, because especially if you're not here in Canada, you didn't experience it, but it could happen to you guys in the United States, the UK, anywhere where you're watching right now. So just be safe out there. Thumbs up the video, comment your thoughts on cashless society, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for coming. I'll see you with the next video. Bye.